eaten.
So basically, you can eat from any tree you want except this one.
Can we sit underneath it?
You know, I would just not go near it at all.
God, the divine, the omnipotent, the universal creator, the source. These are all terms that we use to describe the entity or the one, the start of it all, and in major religions referred to as God.
A psilocybin endowed hello.
It's Cosmic Buddha, and today I'm going to be telling you how psychedelics helped me find God and the profound impact that they had on my life, both the good and the bad. You'd be surprised. It's not all fun and games when you find the divine, or when you become aware of it. There are some consequences. Make sure to stay to the end of the video to find out about them. So, when I refer to the divine in this video, I'm referring to God, the source, the omnipotent creator, etc., etc. I do not ascribe to any particular religion.
I have dominion over you, and I command you to believe in God.
I'm sorry, I just don't see any evidence.
I need to mention two important aspects for you to better understand this video. Number one, religion and spirituality aren't the same thing. For instance, you can meditate a lot and not be a Buddhist. I meditate a lot, I don't follow a religion. The reason I mention this is because before I took the hero's dose, I had already meditated for many years. So I was in a pretty self-aware, grounded state, and I could keep my cool when I was taking a very high amount of magic mushrooms. I didn't lose myself or go down cray-cray town.
Can't. I got insanity practice. Ah! 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 Pinwheels! Pinwheels in my head! Voices! Angry fish!
How's he doing?
Not good. He still thinks this is practice of some sort.
The second point I want to mention is I was not looking for God. I was just a guy who was very depressed in med school and nothing seemed to work or make me feel better. So I sought out the psychedelics because I had heard that they could heal depression, and who doesn't want to feel better? So when I embarked on the psychedelic journey, it was purely because I just wanted to feel better. I had no inclination towards the divine, God, meaning, purpose, faith, or anything like that. In fact, as I said, I was a hardcore atheist, and I didn't see the point in life or being alive. I spent most of my life wanting to not be alive, which arguably is not the best way to spend your limited time on this planet. The point in all of this is I wasn't seeking out God when I took the psychedelics. I was seeking out the therapeutic benefits. So, with that out of the way, how did psychedelics help me find God? Well, I want to give you a bit of a timeline here. Initially, when I took my first few hero's doses, I had a sort of experience of the divine. However, at the time I was listening to strong music and pretty much zoned out and in and out. So I had a bit of the divine. I had this feeling of consciousness, of awareness. I felt as if myself and everything around me and the entire world was connected. And because of that connection, everything was part of some sort of cosmic heartbeat, as if the entire solar system existed as one. And in these moments of the hero's dose, I became aware. I became aware of a presence I could not explain, and to this day cannot explain, but I know it's there. I felt it. I'm 100% certain that it exists, which is kind of sad because I spent my entire life believing it didn't exist. So having it exist now, well, I guess it's better late than never, but I know it's out there. And in those first few trips I had a vision of it, this sort of primordial chaos, as if the gods themselves were dancing in this never-ending fire, this rage but calm. It's a contradiction, but they exist indifferent, I think.
Jesus, please let me live. Oh my God, I gotta fix this thing. Please, God in heaven. Please, God, oh Lord, hear my prayers. Yes! You, God! Not today, bitch!
And I was in that space for brief moments of time, but I didn't really comprehend where I was, and I kinda still don't. What I do know is I sort of like dipped my feet in it. I sort of had a basic experience of the divine. I went from there is no God, life is meaningless, we all exist by chance, this entire spinning planet just so happened to be at the right place at the right time to allow us to be conscious and for you to see these pixels on the other side of your phone. Quite a lot of coincidence there. if you think about it. But when I experienced the divine, that shifted my perspective. I sort of believed then that, hey, maybe there's a higher power out there, and when I mean higher than I was. So that was really high, man. And this higher power had a plan. Was it benevolent? I don't know. Was it omnipotent? Possibly. Was it kind and caring and waiting on the other side? I really don't think so. I got a sense of indifference but compassion, which I know sounds contradictory. These were my initial trips as I went deeper down the rabbit hole of the psilocybin experience. Then came the true, awareness of God. In one of my trips where I had a certain strain called Cosmic Buddha, might make some sense now, right? And I was gone somewhere else. I don't know where I was gone. I don't know why I was gone, but I was gone out of this planet into the stars themselves. I traveled through space and time.
Zed's dead, baby.
Which sounds ridiculous, I imagine. But hear me out. I traveled through the stars on a spaceship. Beings communicated with me, and they used language that I didn't understand, nor did they speak in words. And I saw a lot of stuff. I got this overwhelming presence that I wasn't alone, that there was something far bigger and far greater, this sort of self-aware, intelligent, sentient consciousness at the start and end of it all. A timeless vessel. And I use the term vessel because I don't know what it is. Could it be an alien? Could it be myself being deluded? Who knows what the source is? I can't claim to know what it is, but I believe in it because I felt it running through me. I remember during my trip, it felt as if I'd been connected to some sort of cosmic tree, and this energy flowed down from my head, down my spine, through the end of my fingertips. It invigorated every aspect of my being. I had never felt so alive in my entire life. I had not known life till I had felt God. I had felt God run through me. I had felt the meaning and purpose that comes with being God aware. Not gonna lie, it was amazing. It's part of the motivation to succeed at this life, to experience more of God, if you know what I mean. But on a serious spiritual sense, I wasn't looking for the divine. I wasn't looking to know stuff. I just wanted to feel happy. But it turns out happiness comes at a price. There's a certain level of consciousness and awareness that you experience when you have had the God experience. To say the God experience is shocking is an understatement. You've guys seen the recent Marvel movies and how bad they've been. Well, the God experience is like watching Avengers for the first time, like Endgame. It's like watching that and having Thanos there and, having the infinity powers or infinity stones, etc. It's like being aware of this incredible, not necessarily benevolent, but cosmic vessel. And if you remember that first time watching Avengers, it was pretty mind-blowing. And that's what it felt like to first become aware of God, the divine. And through repeated heroes doses, I would spend a decent amount of time in this strange place that I've termed Magic Mushroom Land. Is it a cheesy name? Yes. Does it sound like the kind of place you go and don't come back from? Possibly, but it does sound better than a mental asylum, so I'm making some sort of progress. And in this magical land,
which I call Magic Mushroom Land,
I experience the divine. It comes in the form of images and visuals and depictions and these very strange sort of mural faces that spin around and move in a sort of transcended way. Time doesn't exist and the state of reality is basically completely broken. And the important thing to mention here is that this is all under the influence of a hero's dose. I only experienced the divine in my life after having the hero's dose, which for those of you who don't know is 5 grams of magic mushrooms and above. It's where you go down the rabbit hole. That's the red pill, guys. That's really the red pill. You want to see the nature of this reality at 5 grams and above, you will definitely see it. And for those of you who've experienced the divine or had a similar sort of experience in some of your psychedelic trips, make sure to share it in the comments down below. I am nowhere near famous enough to not reply to comments as yet, guys, so make sure to share it. I'd be interested to hear what your journey has been. Eventually, my trips became more of a targeted approach. Once you've experienced the divine, once you've felt the eternal, the bliss, the joy, the infinite happiness that comes into you as dodgy as that sounds, there's nothing on this material plane that can compare. Which is an interesting statement to make. But that feeling of connectedness, that feeling of God awareness, you know, it's just what it is. There's nothing else that I can compare to it. And when I take my hero's doses now, I specifically try and meditate to go into that space, because a few hours with the divine feels like a lifetime of therapy and healing, and, you know, all the negative experiences you may have in this human experience, you kind of forget about them. When the divine takes you on a journey, it's pretty much unforgettable. The divine is the ultimate Instagram filter. It can turn your day into like rainbows and sunshine, and, you know, what would be a good example? That lens from being in the state of the divine, when you come off the trip, it sort of does wear off, but it's never gone. It stays with you for the rest of your life. You have this awareness inside you that I am not alone. There is something more out there in the eternal, something that's guiding, watching, and is present, but also sort of indifferent. This is where the confusion comes in. You get the sense that it's there and compassionate, but at the same time, it's not going to come down from the sky and just alleviate all your problems and suffering. And I think the divine is a sense of awareness that, hey, you're on this journey, you're on this mission, and yeah, you're not alone, but you have free will, you have autonomy, you can fuck your life up. Like, whether you got away or not, you are capable of still screwing your life up. And as someone with a medical background and a vested interest in psychiatry, as you may imagine, contemplating the nature of this reality with the divine awareness in it creates a whole different thought paradigm. I'm still grasping the nature of this world. I'm still trying to put together an identity of what it means to be alive. But the psychedelics gave me that God feeling. Now, I've had friends who have never had psychedelics, but they tell me that that's what faith feels like. It's the feeling they get when they surrender in prayer to something higher than themselves. That faith feeling is what they would call God, and I've never had it until the psychedelics. To be honest, guys, I thought all these God-believing people were pretty much crazy.
As anthropologist Bronislaw Malinowski put it in the 1920s, myth fulfills an indispensable function. It expresses, enhances, and codifies belief. It safeguards and enforces morality. It vouches for the efficacy of ritual and contains practical rules for the guidance of humanity.
I was like, you telling me there's some force out there that guides the hand of destiny and weaves the tapestry in real time as we all exist, blah, blah, blah. Really, guys? Like, you'd have to take a lot of drugs to believe that. Wait a second. That makes sense, right? But I was very skeptical of it all, and I was very doubtful. And I actually just considered it a delusion. I considered the God belief a delusion, which was ignorant to do. So yeah, psychedelics basically opened my mind. Psilocybin just was like, boom, here's God and other shit. Be aware of it. It's all real. Now do with that information as you will. Maybe your life stays the same, maybe it doesn't. Obviously mine changed. So what was the profound effect of, you know, God awareness for me? The good is you don't feel alone at night. You go to bed thinking someone's got my back, and by someone I just mean something out there. There's a reason why I'm alive. There's a reason why I wake up in the morning. There's a reason why I go to bed. Why I speak these words is for a purpose. That God awareness permeates your being, and it's always present with you. You sort of know that you can surrender to the divine. But surrendering doesn't mean you don't take action. You still have to do all the human tasks that you have to do to get by. If you like living under a bridge or in like a box and you're just sitting there and you're like, divine, just, you know, materialize me a Ferrari.
Judge judgmental people to be unevolved. Judge yourself to be non-judgmental.
It's not going to work. No, the divine is more about connection to the world around you. And that connection is a filling feeling. It fills you up and you feel whole. Like if you had missed something your whole life, that last piece of the puzzle might just be the divine. You take the divine with you wherever you are, and you're always aware of it. You no longer just exist in a vacuum. The downside of being aware of the divine is you have some sort of awareness of consequences and action. Let's be real, most people just want to go around and fuck shit up. If we all had free will and limitless money, we'd probably play real life like GTA. We'd get the helicopter, go with the minigun, and just destroy everything just because we can, you know, like you'd probably unwind by doing fun stuff.
The right to bear arms is not only my favorite constitutional right, it's the only constitutional right that I know of.
However, the divine makes you aware of the connectedness of this reality, and I don't mean an awareness in the sense of some Libra scale weighing sins and forgiveness. I think that's from a Lil Wayne song, actually. I just mean an internal state of, if I fuck this shit up, this is most likely going to be a consequence of that. And that internal awareness, unfortunately, once you are God aware, is always a part of you. If you were mildly Patrick Bateman-like myself, for most of my life, and didn't possess the highest interpersonal skills, empathy, or social skills, to say the least, being aware of the divine changes anything. You find yourself asking, if I did this axe-based activity, chop, 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 that might be not ideal. And I use it like that to avoid YouTube censorship. You get my point. If you've had certain kinds of thoughts with the divine in your life, you kind of think twice. That is the downside. That is the con. So I mentioned, you know, the wholeness and feeling like you're not alone. The con is the responsibility. Once you know about the divine, you're kind of stuck knowing about it. It doesn't go anywhere. It's always with you. No matter what you do, the divine is a part of you. So I mentioned one pro and one big con. Let's go with another pro. How else does the divine help you? In those moments of self-doubt, when you don't think you're capable of doing something, that feeling of the divine being on your side, knowing that there's more out there, might be just the push you need. That feeling of faith in the eternal might be just what you need to get you through that last set in the gym, do that last PowerPoint presentation, or nail that last sales call, or approach the cute girl. That feeling of the divine allows you to push further. And I really have to hand it to the religious folk out there. I wish I had known about God when I was younger, because it would have changed a lot from my life and saved me a whole bunch of time. I think it's silly to think that mental health and faith and purpose are not related. I think it's silly to think that just having pills and shit is gonna fix your mental health issues. You have to embrace the spiritual. You have to become aware to build mental health that is a bit better than the average day and age. Don't get me wrong, I'm still victim to doom scrolling on Instagram and, you know, wasting my time watching YouTube shorts, and you get it. Like, I have not transcended being stupid. I am just as stupid as I was before. But the major breakthrough is being aware of that stupidity. It's being aware of the limitations in your life, and the divine can help you with that. The divine is awareness. So now I've mentioned two pros and one con. I'm gonna mention a third pro. Another profound impact of the divine was just faith. Was believing that whatever I dreamed and thought of doing in this life was actually attainable. It was the faith that I was capable to do these things. It was the faith that maybe this is all for a reason. And I actually think that having that reason, as I mentioned in my previous videos, is really the thing that changes everything. Having that reason constantly in your presence really helps you. And it helped me. And, you know, I'm only deeply grateful for psilocybin. You know, beyond the biochemical changes that it undoubtedly made to my synaptic clefts and the way I think, etc., it opened the door to the spiritual realm. It opened my mind to what is and what was and what will always be. Now, I've only mentioned one con of the divine, and I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm going to call it there at like one con. If you guys like this content, make sure to subscribe, like, and share. Do all those YouTube things. More videos to come as inspiration arrives from the divine. Until next time, guys, psilocybin out.